Okay, so welcome again, everybody. So we are going now to start the webinar. Thank you very much for being online with us today. I would like to introduce first the different person who are going to be your host, Aisha. Who is the MBA program director. She will give you some words about the program presentation. Mrs. Sophie De Lorenzo is our director of the careers department. She will be able to give you insights about what will happen after the MBA program, also during your program, how we are going to help you in terms of boost, a change or a boost. And we also welcome today Ms. Jenna Dover, who is one of our MBA current students. So Marika, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Audrey, and welcome to everyone. Welcome to this MBA seminar. And if you're following this particular seminar today, this virtual open doors, I think you already know why you want to do an MBA, the value of an MBA in general, and perhaps specifically for you. So the MBA obviously opens doors. It opens minds, even more importantly, because no matter what you are doing right now or where you may be, you already have some work experience, and maybe you want to do something new. Maybe you want to explore something new. Maybe you want to fast track your career. So the MBA is designed for people who are curious, for people who are looking for a new opportunity, looking for a new challenge in life. It's not just simply continuing with one's education. It's already putting one's practical experience to work in a new kind of environment, in a new kind of format. And the aim, certainly, of our MBA is to have as diverse a group of students as possible in a very multicultural environment, and to really challenge students to go beyond themselves. So we'll look at, I think we don't have to go into why do an MBA. You're already here, you know the value of it. Of course, if you have specific questions about it, I'll be only too happy to answer those questions. But let's go into what makes the Monaco MBA program unique. So if we go into the next slide and begin to have an idea. Okay, so my name is Marika Teichhoff, and we can just look at, these are going to be the three people. You're jumping ahead a little bit too much, please. Thank you. If we could stay here just for a minute. So let me just quickly introduce myself. So despite my name, I'm American, originally way back when from New York City. And I've been working at IUM for 11 years now, running the MBA program for about 9 or 10 of those years. And prior to IUM, I worked at IMD in Lausanne in Switzerland. I worked at Bocconi in Milan and Imperial College Management School in London. So I can sort of benchmark where the IUM MBA stands vis-a-vis these others. And there are really many unique aspects to it. And we'll go over those aspects right now. So if we could go to the next slide, please. Okay, 5 reasons to choose the Monaco MBA. I mean, you all know, you've done your research, there are loads of MBA programs out there, right? So, I mean, what makes one determine which one to choose, which one to select? Most MBA programs, I'm hoping the ones you're looking at, are all accredited by AMBA, at the very least. We've been accredited by AMBA for many years now. We've just been reaccredited for another 3 years. Another reason to choose an MBA is it ranked in any of the leading rankings? And certainly one of the major rankings is the Economist, which MBA global ranking of the top 100 MBA programs, and that's in the world. And for the past several years, we've also been included in that ranking. So for a small school, we're very, very proud of that. So let me be more specific about, why the Monaco MBA. And think about what makes Monaco specific, what makes Monaco special. And it's not just the casino, and it's not just the yachts and all that. Of course, that's part of the background to Monaco. It's part of the landscape in Monaco. But Monaco has unique expertises. It has unique competencies in a variety of different fields. Monaco is a luxury hub. It basically created the notion of a luxury ecosystem. And this was back in the 1860s. And I just wrote 2 cases with the Société de Bains de Mer on this topic. So it has a real profound, shall we say, center of excellence in the notion of luxury, and particularly luxury services. As a corollary to that, It also has a great deal of depth and understanding in terms of wealth management, all of the wealth management activities, asset management activities that are sought by many of the world's high net worth individuals and ultra high net worth individuals. And finally, many people don't realize this, but Monaco is intrinsically very, very entrepreneurial. As I mentioned, the idea of Monte Carlo began in the 1860s. The principality has been continuously renovating itself, reinvigorating itself, repositioning itself to new trends, to new technologies, to new values. So it's fundamentally a very entrepreneurial place, and it also attracts many, many entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs from around the world. And basically by doing the MBA in Monaco, you're able to learn firsthand from these three, shall we say, centers of expertise that Monaco holds. So that's basically the backdrop, but also in terms of following the program itself, you have the choice to follow it in 10 months, which is full-time and residential. So that means coming to Monaco, and you will be able to come to Monaco again after a few weeks here, or you can follow it over 20 months. And this is really designed for those of you who have full-time jobs or who are unable to come to Monaco. And the 20-month program is primarily online and distance with several weeks in Monaco. And basically, we merge the two groups, and Jenna can tell you more about that, in terms of basically creating one cohort. So it's not like there's one group which is, you know, online somewhere in the virtual realm and another group which is here in Monaco. It's really one cohort following the program via two different channels. Again, as I mentioned, we're accredited by the Association of MBAs, which is a leading global MBA accreditation body. And whatever MBA program you're looking at, make certain they are accredited. We have a very, very extensive career and professional development coaching program. And Sophie De Lorenzo, who's with us today, will be able to talk more about that for you. And as I mentioned, we're ranked amongst the top 100 global MBA programs by the renowned The Economist Which MBA rankings. So, I mean, those are some of the 5 top reasons. There are many other reasons, but the top reasons are probably those. Okay. And then we can look at, let's say, other elements in terms of what makes our program special. So the where, you know, you can always look at anything in terms of the where, the who, the how, etc. So again, the where, as I mentioned, it's Monaco. And location is always important. So as I mentioned, you know, I'm from New York originally. I know that studying in New York, you learn a lot from the dynamism of the city. I was at Columbia University, etc. London, you learn a lot, etc. A business school ideally should be symbiotically related to the community in which it operates, and to the community in which it is. And we are very closely linked to the Monaco business community, to the Monaco entrepreneurial community, to the banking and financial community. So again, one gets a chance to learn, not just at school, which is wonderful, but also in the field. And that's very much our approach, experiential learning, learning from Monaco in particular. So that's the where is very, very important for us. We also have a program, and Sophie will go over this in more detail, where we encourage students to meet with decision makers, with professionals, with successful entrepreneurs, so that there's a give and take between the MBA community in particular and the Monaco business community, the Monaco financial community, even the Monaco philanthropic community, because there are many, many different, shall we say, organizations in Monaco, which make Monaco so unique. The other element about Monaco is that there are many, many conferences. I mean, every year there are about 400 conferences, more or less, that come to Monaco. Everything from the pharmaceutical industry, the high-tech industry, anti-aging. So again, our students have a chance to meet with many of these business people coming from around the world during these events. And again, frequently our students are invited and participate in many of these global events. So that's sort of the where. And now we can go into the next slide, which is the who. Okay, the who. So who are you taught by? So we have a very, I won't boast, but we have a very distinguished roster of full-time faculty who have excellent academic backgrounds, who are well-known researchers amongst the top quoted researchers in their specific fields. We also have visiting affiliate professors who come from business schools in Milan, in Paris, in London, in Munich, etc. And they come to give specific courses on specific topics. And this way as well, you get insights not only from the Monaco community, the Monaco IUM faculty, but also from faculty from different business schools. In addition to the faculty per se, we also have a mentorship program. And again, Sophie will be able to explain that in more detail. But the mentorship program is really intended to allow each MBA student to be paired over the course of their studies, whether it's 10 months or 20 months, with a successful entrepreneur, a professional, an executive, in the field which interests them, or in a field which could be of value to that student. And the aim is to basically have somebody who's a soundboard for the student. So it's not just learning from your professors, distinguished as they may be, it's also learning from successful business people and building a relationship, a professional relationship with these mentors, which of course broadens your network, which is part of what we really try to encourage here at IUM, broadening your network, expanding your network globally. So the mentorship program is another unique feature of Monaco. And of course, it's very related to the where, because Monaco is home to so many successful business people and successful companies. And if necessary, we sometimes also have mentors from further afield, from London, from Paris, from Milan. And of course, relationships with these mentors can be held via Skype, but the mentors also come here frequently for the networking cocktail, the mentorship meetings, etc. And then finally, we have career and executive coaches. And Sophie De Lorenzo is of course, the director of that particular part of the MBA program. And she's assisted by Carolyn Friesenberg, who's also an executive recruiter. She has her own company. She recruits globally across several industries. And she is a dedicated career coach for our MBA students. And again, Sophie will tell you more about that in a few minutes. And then finally, we can go to the how, which is the next slide. And here we can go into a bit more detail about how the MBA program, how your MBA journey is really structured. And as I mentioned, we have two different options for you. It's the same program. You have the same faculty, you have the same coursework, you have the same assessment, and as I mentioned, you work together across cohorts. So in every group, we'll have residential students along with distance students. So as we said, two different program delivery modes. It's one program with two different delivery modes and durations. And again, this depends very much on your own professional and personal situation. In terms of how we build our program, the MBA program, we try to structure our courses along the themes of understanding the big picture, the business environment, what's happening out there, what are the mega trends. We also try to look at other elements such as, how to spot opportunities, how to capture opportunities, how to capitalize on opportunities, how to build a business. Those are sort of the big picture elements, let's say the sexy elements that many people like to look at. But behind it all, of course, you have to make certain your company can survive. You have to understand finance. You have to understand operations. You have to understand human resource management, leadership skills, right? So business is an integrated entity. And all of the various parts in a business have to work together if the business is going to be successful today and even more so tomorrow. And finally, we have another pillar in our program. And again, these are conceptual pillars, which is putting it all together, the integrated part. And this has to do with a business simulation, which is a 4-day program at the end of the actual, shall we say, curriculum, as well as a corporate consulting project, which is a project given to us by companies and in which you work basically as any kind of consultant would work, as consultants at McKinsey or BCG or Bain would work. Strategic project where you interact very frequently with the executives of the company who gave us this particular project, and you basically follow their guidelines, working together closely with them to give you recommendations, justifications, etc. It's another great way to get experiential knowledge, hands-on learning, action learning, and also, of course, to continue to build your network because you will have contact with these various companies. Another option in terms of the how is if you already have a business plan in mind, in other words, you're already thinking, I really want to build this company, etc. You may also, rather than doing a corporate consulting project, decide to do an individual business plan. And in this case, you're going to be guided, mentored, coached by faculty, as well as by members of the investor community here in Monaco. Again, we have very good relationships with the investment community here in Monaco, with the entrepreneurs in Monaco, with the venture capitalists, etc. in Monaco. And we also have a relationship with Monaco Tech, which is an incubator, which was set up about 2 years ago in Monaco. And we have various programs that we do together with Monaco Tech. So the MBA students working together with Monaco Tech and vice versa. So this is designed especially for those amongst you who have an entrepreneurial mindset, who really want to, you have an idea and you want to take it forward. So that's the how of how we deliver this program and what are the conceptual foundations for it. Okay, and this is just a graphic to give you a better idea in terms of these two different, shall we say, durations. The courses are exactly the same, but obviously if you're doing the 20-month program, we have to split it in two. So here basically you can see again, it's very sort of general in terms of what happens from September to January, then from January to May and June. So these are the functional management courses. You start off with functional management. Marketing is functional. Economics for management is functional. Accounting is functional. Okay? The courses where you're getting an idea of what matters externally for a company, and that's where marketing is important, and what matters internally for a company, and that's where accounting and finance are important. You might spot a brilliant marketing idea there, but I mean, can you finance it? Can you actually make some money out of it? What will you require in terms of investment? So sort of these are the building blocks, and that's offered in the first term of the program. And you can see on this diagram here, you have 4 weeks, September, January, May, and June, called masterclass weeks. And those masterclass weeks are specifically designed for the distance students or the part-time students. And this is when they come to Monaco. So in other words, there's always going to be some kind of relationship between the full-time residential and the part-time distance students. And that happens during these residential or masterclass weeks. And these weeks are built around special themes. So the first one in September is the orientation week, where everybody gets together, you get to know each other, you know the school, you get to know Monaco. We invite leaders of the Monaco community, of the government, to come and give speeches. And this is a way where the first team building exercises happen. In January, that masterclass week is built around mentoring and networking. So you'll have a seminar on networking techniques. You will meet your mentors. You'll learn how to present yourself, interview techniques, etc. The May masterclass week is typically built around what we call the MARC event, which is a luxury and premium business competition, business plan competition. So within that particular week, there are elements of luxury as well as of finance, as well as entrepreneurship. And again, these are very, shall we say, interactive kinds of weeks. And in June, the final masterclass week, that will be the week dedicated to the business simulation. So that's why we call them masterclass weeks. Okay? And if we go to the next slide, we can see what the 20-month program could look like. And basically, you see year 1 and year 2 here, and it's spread over 20 months. And basically, the curriculum has been split in two, because that's the only way one can do a part-time program. And even that's pretty challenging, but most of our students are managing. And the aim here is we very much recommend that you do the September orientation week, so the first masterclass week, just to meet everyone in the first year. And then you may decide to do the mentorship week in January, or you could decide to do the MARC business plan competition in May. But the only real prerequisites are the first year you must do the orientation week in September, and you can only do the business simulation week at the end of your second year, because you will not have acquired the necessary skills until then to actually perform well on the business simulation, because that brings in all aspects. It brings in marketing, finance, negotiation, strategy, operations, human resource management. So all of those various factors coalesce in the business simulation. Okay. And if we can go to the next slide. And that's basically it for me right now. So what's the aim of doing an MBA, right? Ultimately, it's to create a new career for yourself, to jumpstart your career, to create your own business. And this is where Sophie, who's assisted by Carolyn Friesenberg, come into play, and they will be with you throughout the year. It's not like they just come at the end to help you find a job. Far from that. They're integrally involved with your MBA journey from the very beginning and throughout. So now I'll leave the floor to Sophie. Thank you.
Thank you, Marika. So I will go a bit deeper in what you have described. You know, I think the way we manage and we coordinate the personal development program throughout the year in alignment with a series of different courses. So just to introduce a bit the people, you know, within this MBA program, which can be involved in the career development program. So we are three basically that support the student in their job search strategy or in defining and setting career goals. The first one, and probably the most active one, is Caroline Friesenberg. I will go through what she will be dealing with, the MBA students, and maybe Jenna can also give some insight afterwards on this relationship. So Caroline Friesenberg is a professional career coach. She's also headhunter. She has her own headhunting company, and she's consistently, in contact with recruiters in many fields, both in Monaco, but she has a lot of clients in the UK, in Scandinavia, and in the rest of Europe. So she's quite connected with the job markets. And she has been with us for 8 years now to support particularly the MBA students in defining their career objectives, but also in really developing a kind of relevant and attractive e-branding strategy. So she's a specialist of LinkedIn, she's a specialist of the e-reputation. So myself, quickly, so I've been director of career services and corporate relations for more than 12 years now at IOM. So, and before I was also headhunter in an American company called Confer International. And this company, was a company in executive search, but also developed talent development program for senior executive and CEO throughout the world. And I joined IOM in 2005. And another person, which I can not name here, but this is a person that completes as well our guidance, is the mentor. And the mentor is defined according to the career objective of the student, is defined according to the type of question the student have, to better qualify where he or she can fit, what type of job market are suitable, etc. So these mentors, of course, is not known yet, but should play an important role in the career options. So the first part is the career development seminar. So this is basically the part which is led by Caroline Friesenberg. So I will just quickly describe what she's doing. So you have 3 parts in that, 3 sequences in that career development seminar. The first one, I think is a bit hidden by our videos, is assess yourself. So that's basically the part taking place in fall. And with a series of assessment exercises. Most of the large multinational, when they recruit the high potential, they propose also assessment day, assessment tool, self-evaluation tools, etc., and a series of exercises to better recruit their talent. And so this is basically the type of exercises we use in this first part to better, to enable the student, the MBA student, to understand, a bit their self-perception, but also the perception from others. And this is this gap which is interesting to work on. The second part is analyze the job markets. And so that's a part basically starting in January. And in that part, Caroline put the student in contact with companies, not recruiters, but much more executive person in companies, just to do practical exercises on interview techniques, etc. And she also started at that point to define, she also helped to define the job market, suitable job targets with the MBA student. And the last part, which is a bit related to LinkedIn, in e-branding, but also targeting suitable position, is much more on the individual basis. So maybe to go into each part, the different sequences. The next slide, I think, explain a bit more. The different parts on the career development programs and personal development programs are suitable to both types of possible participants. We have 2 types of profile in our MBA program. We have the one pursuing a corporate careers, and you have the one pursuing their own business. And I think that what we are developing is adjusted to the both populations. So when you target a job, you know, it's when you target as well a business angel or potential investors. So this is a different type of exercise, but basically what Caroline is doing is suitable to the both type of objectives. So going into the first part, assessment, on the self-assessment now. This is the picture of Caroline. What she starts by a self-assessment exercise, which is quite used by large company to assess their high potential, but also their executives, and to start a coaching approach. So she used the DISC analysis with all the students with an individual debriefing. And then in this first part, she has also a lot of presentation technique, this assessment center with external executive and an elevator pitch. And the global purpose of these exercises and analysis is to make the student understand where they are and that the way they perceive themselves might be different than the way the other perceive themselves. So, and this is again, this gap which is interesting to discuss with. There is not a wrong analysis or the right analysis, we are all different, but it is interesting to start this personal development approach by this self-assessment. The second part, sorry. I'm sorry, you know, my TV shut on the alone. Okay, so the second part is related to analyze the job market. So analyze the job market is also to use quite modern tools to do it. And Caroline is an expert of LinkedIn and online branding. So she helps a lot. I think she's really good in helping the student and executive as well in the use of these tools and to optimize also these tools. You know, we all know how to use LinkedIn, but there is so many other things that can be learned and get from LinkedIn. So this is interesting to integrate really in this approach a good understanding of all the potential of LinkedIn, either to promote his or herself, but as well to target the right person and to develop also e-networking strategies through these tools. Online branding, Drive for Success, is all related to the way you present yourself in the net, so which is more and more important today. And the Lions Layer and interview taxi panel interview, that's a series of exercises that are quite interesting again for the both you know, students who are looking for corporate careers and entrepreneurs. So the Lions Layer is basically inspired by the Dragon's Den a bit. So if you are familiar with the BBC show Dragon's Den, where you have entrepreneurs presenting and pitching their business plan to successful entrepreneurs. So you are familiar with the concept. Basically, you know, the students have to prepare something presented to senior executives, CEOs, or investors in companies, and they get feedback on the way they presented, but they get also recommendation on the way they can improve themselves. Interview techniques and panel interview, I think it's quite understandable, and so I will not go deeper these two aspects. The third part is related to market yourself. And this is the part which is first introduced by a core seminar, but which is also handled in the one-to-one approach. So Caroline is doing a lot of individual coaching. So besides the core seminars, of course, you know, she defined, you know, individually the personal job strategies. She also helped in personal online branding and market research, because as you understand, we have a kind of small cohort of MBA students, but they are all very different. And they have whole different target and career options. So it is an important element of our personal development program that this individual support and coaching approach for everyone. So I think that's more or less the part which is covered by Caroline. The way I support this program as well, and I'm working with both Marika and Caroline, that's on different elements. I'm focusing much more on the corporate relations, developing partnership with companies, potential recruiters, developing fruitful, interesting corporate project with this type of companies. So my main focus is much more developing the corporate relation within IUM for whole programs. And with both Caroline and Marika, we work on the MBA mentorship program, which is, as described Marika before, a program which is helping the student in the different step of the career development. The first step is to have an interaction with a senior executive working in the targeted field. So the student might be interested in technology, the student might be interested to set up his or her own companies, and the person who will become their mentor should have something to share in that field, obviously. Most of them, they're quite senior executive because they have this experience they can share on many different areas. So most of the mentors, they are not old but experienced. They have on average more than 20 years of experience in management, management of companies, CEOs of company or top executive of companies. And so they are able really to share a lot of their experiences, but also their vision with the student. And that's a great help normally for the student to better first adjust their targeting strategy, understanding, the trends of an industry, understanding what does that mean to be a good manager or good leaders within the company, etc. So the first step of this mentorship program is, first of all, with me, Marika, and Caroline, is to really understand the question of the student, to really understand what can be the career option of the student, and regarding one of these career options, to think about the type of experience, the type of mentors profile who can answer some of the questions related to the career options. And so it's very an individual approach. We're quite lucky in Monaco because we have a lot of interesting people there. We have a lot of successful entrepreneurs. We have a lot of people who are both entrepreneur investors as well. We have a lot of senior executives that are here sometimes part-time, but also working in the international company. So on 2 square kilometers, I would say that, that's really interesting to benefit from all this amount of expertise we can find there. So maybe later, if you have questions, I can go through these different elements of mentorship. Learning from experience. So this is Marika who touched that point as well. We have developed a lot of partnerships with the different, players in different fields. So basically, I will not go through every partnership, but in banking, in fact, maybe I can just quickly describe it. Thank you. In banking and finance, we are doing different things with this main 3 institutions. The Monaco Venture Capital and Private Equity Association, that's an interesting company, and a group of former MBA students have created within this association a junior Monaco Private Equity and Venture Association. So we have students now, or former students, who are trying to develop their own cluster within this association, which is an interesting experience, how to continue to network during, but also after the MBA program. So we, in sport, we are partner of Ice Monaco Sportel, which is the big event taking place in Monaco in October in broadcasting. And we are also partnering with the Automobile Club of Monaco. And this Automobile Club of Monaco, that is the organizer of the Formula One Grand Prix. And so we are doing some audit and some research project with this Formula One event as well. In fashion, we are working with Chambron des Gaz de la Mode, but also with other institutions. And we also have a strong partnership with the players in the yachting industry. which is really a new hub in Monaco and a new thing as well for us. And we signed up a partnership agreement with the Monaco Yachting Cluster 3 years ago, and we are developing a specialization track with them. And we are also partnering with the two main players, the Monaco Yacht Club and the Monaco Yacht Show as well. Just to finish on that description, we are also linked to some Monaco institutions which are related strongly with our two type of mission statements. You know, if you look at the mission statement of IOM, you can read that we want to foster the entrepreneurial spirit, and we want to foster as well the mindset or the openness to the issues in sustainable development. And that's the reason why we have also 3 interesting partnerships in Monaco. We are partnering with the Musée Ethnographique de Monaco, with Monaco Impact, which is a network gathering some successful entrepreneurs in Monaco, but also Monaco Tech. And we are developing all together, for instance, a business plan competition called the Monaco Ocean Protection Challenge that aims to present a new business model that have a positive impact on ocean protection. So again, you know, I can describe it for a long time, but for the one who have question on it, you know, I'm there. And then we also are partnering with an international group headquartered in Monaco, Parview, which is the group headquartered in Monaco with activities in China. Basically, that's a Hong Kong company with some of the family living in Monaco as well, with a lot of activities throughout the world, and basically mainly in the US and in Asia as well. And so that's interesting to work with that company because they are headquartered in Monaco, so we have a direct link with the senior executive there. And we can also sometimes make our student work on a corporate project proposed by that company because they are able to propose a very exciting strategic project that concern the different activities of the company. I think it's more or less what we can describe. You know, Marika has also described, you know, the series of events that where we can invite our students. Well, I'm there, you know, to describe more or less this event, but it is true that we target the event that have an interest for our students, and we propose them invitation, or we insert this event in their program to make them to make sure that they can attend. They are free to attend and available to attend.
That's right, absolutely. We build the weekly program around these events so that
exactly.
They're integrated into the course curriculum.
So I will just have a selection of 3 events. So the one event, that's an event. You can look at the website, you know, which is held in fall in Monaco. And it gathers a lot of very interesting people, you know, from all over the world, you know, CEOs of company. We had the CEO of Michelin there, the new CEO of Renault. We had a lot of CEOs in the technology company. And in that spirit of, you know, we have to change the world, and we have to change also to reinvent the business models. And reinventing the business model, by the way, that's also one of the new purpose of an MBA program. And so what we like is to offer this MBA student the opportunity to learn from these conferences that have exactly the same purpose of the MBA program. We organize every 2 years the Monaco Symposium on Luxury, which is an event gathering both academic researchers in the field of luxury, but also some executive giving some testimonial there. And we organize also our own event called IOM Business Days in March. So as you can imagine, the one we organized 2 weeks ago was a bit weird. But in 3 days, the business days happen every year in March. And in 3 days, we invite a lot of companies to present their activities and to interact and meet our students. Again, you know, if you are interested to know more about this, you know, we have the program of this year and of the previous years. Marika, you want to complete?
No, I think that's really it. Again, this all has to do with our approach to an MBA program, which is not just classroom learning, but really learning in the field, learning from the field, rethinking business models, as you say. And we try to integrate as many of the events that are relevant to our students in Monaco to what interests our students. And again, we have students who are interested in luxury, who are interested in fashion, others who are interested in sustainability, in philanthropic activities, others who are interested in fintech, etc. And luckily for us, Monaco hosts all these kinds of events. So we allow this sort of almost cross-breeding between what our students are interested in and the various experts who are either here in Monaco permanently or who come to Monaco for these special events. So that's really part of our MBA philosophy, sort of real-world learning, as opposed to just, classroom learning.
And also, just to complete, for the one who have an entrepreneurial project, this last slide highlight also the type of event that we do organize with our partner, to help also the entrepreneurs to present their business plan, their concept to investors or to senior executives. So we have two challenges. The one is the Monaco Ocean Protection Challenges that I have described a bit before in partnership with the Institut Oceanographique and Monaco Impact and Monaco Tech. And we have also another challenge dedicated to promote the innovative business model in the luxury fields. I'm done, I think.
Great. Thank you, Sophie.
Yes. Thank you very much, Sophie. Maybe, Jenna, you would like to share with us some of your experience on the different events that we've been talking about.
Sure, no problem. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jenna Dover. I'm South African. I'm part of the current 2019-2020 MBA cohort, very much in the thick of my MBA and dealing with an extraordinary time in the world. So it's resulted in a lot of chaos, but also weirdly some additional skills that I'm acquiring, which I'll need going forward, and that is virtual workplaces and working in teams virtually. We're continuing fast and forward with my MBA program and doing so all over the world. I was located in Monaco, and all the things that were described in the prior slides and by Marika and Sophie are true. It's an exceptional place to be able to do my MBA. I feel very grateful. I get close proximity to some of the world's best entrepreneurs in one of the most beautiful places one could possibly think of doing their MBA. All the while working very, very hard. I can certainly attest to that. It's 10 months, it's intense, and I'm in it, enjoying it. And if you have any questions, I've already seen one or two, pop them in the chat below and we'll be happy to address them. Why did I choose to do my MBA with IUM? Well, I'm legally trained, I'm a lawyer. I want to potentially go into a career change or possibly start my own business. The MBA is structured to accommodate both of those desires. I wanted to do it abroad, so not in my home country, and it had to be accredited. And of course, IUM received their recent re-accreditation with AMBA, which was deeply pleasing. I also want to possibly work outside of my home country of South Africa, possibly in Europe when everything settles down. So I wanted exposure to entrepreneurs from that area and not North America. And of course, diversity, very important to me. And I don't think there's maybe one person who shares the same nationality as another, but really we're from all over the world, speak multiple languages, and that's part of the appeal as well. But don't let the pretty looks of Monaco fool you. It's very much a serious course. And at times I'm completely overwhelmed, but enjoying every moment of it. That's it, Audrey. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them as well.
Thank you very much, Jenna. Before we go to the questions, because I'm sure that you guys have many questions to ask and we'll be happy to answer. maybe a few words about admission process, but for the ones who have not started yet, so I will be happy to take care of your files, just to make a quick presentation for the ones who don't know me. So I will be your admissions officer. So I will be the one actually being able to answer all your questions regarding the program, how to apply to it. So here you have my contact details, my phone number, my email address, so don't hesitate to contact me anytime. Just to give a few words about admission process itself, the first thing you need to do, well, everything happens online. So the first thing you need to do is that you need to go on the website and apply online and put your basic information, name, address, phone number, these kind of things. Then we will ask you to upload different documents. So we will ask for a letter of motivation, for a CV. We will require your transcripts, the diploma you have. We will also need to have a letter of recommendation and a proof of English proficiency, which can be IELTS, TOEFL, or Cambridge. Once we have all this, once I see your documents on the platform, I will get back to you and I will organize your meeting with the program director, with Marika. And then you will get an answer very shortly, because we hold a jury each week approximately. So basically it can be a very quick process until you get our feedback. So again, this is my contact details, so don't hesitate to contact me anytime. So maybe now we can go to questions. Okay, so first question, can we do all the elective courses or just a part of them? Marika?
Okay, thank you for the question. A very good question, in fact. The elective courses are reflective again of what Monaco does best, which is luxury. So we have courses in luxury services, luxury consumer behavior, luxury brand management. We have courses in the wealth management area, such as wealth management, venture capital, entrepreneurial finance, real estate investing, etc. These electives are optional. So they're not mandatory. We certainly suggest that students take them because, again, this is really one of the best ways you can learn about Monaco from a theoretical perspective, although many of the professors there in these elective courses are also professionals. So they run wealth management companies or they run an entrepreneurial finance company, etc. So you may take anywhere, between, let's say, 1 and 3 electives, if you like. Some students have managed to take more, but there's always an issue of scheduling conflict. But and you can take them, if you're doing the program over 2 years, you can take them maybe 1 in the first year, a couple in the next year, or you can take them all in the second year. And for those students doing it in 10 months, you can basically take them during those 10 months. Most of the electives begin in the second half of the year, in other words, after January. And that's simply because some students come in and think they're really interested in luxury, but then they take courses in corporate finance and they say, hey, I really like, finance, and I want to take wealth management and I want to do this and that. So basically, we give students a bit of time to determine what interests them, what kind of elective would interest them. And if they don't want to do an elective, they don't have to do an elective. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it was a question from Sebastian. So thank you for the answer. He has another one actually.
Oh, okay.
Does the coaching bring the opportunities to grow up your professional network? I guess this one is more for Sophie.
I don't think Sophie heard.
Yes. Sophie?
Yes, yes. Can you, I think, I just, you were cut. So can you repeat the question?
Yes, sorry. Does the coaching bring the opportunities to grow up your professional network?
Okay. So there is two ways to see coaching, within this program. The really coaching approach is handled by Caroline Freisenberg, the MBA career coach. And she is open to open her network to people for specific purposes. But this objective of this MBA coaching is really based on you, and not necessarily linked to the networking opportunities. Even though, as far as she's also a headhunter, it is true that every year, you know, she can rely also the current student she's mentoring with the potential jobs that she has to fill for a company. So in that sense, of course, she can also introduce the MBA student to potential recruiters or to potential people as far as they have an interest in the profile of our student. Networking opportunities in Monaco comes much more on the mentor side, but again, it's depend on them. So basically their role is to help the student, but obviously most of the time, you know, they also connect the student to other people that might have an interest in their profile, or other people which are interested in terms of experience, ability to answer some question that the student have. So in these two ways, of course, there is some networking opportunity that can happen. And we offer also some specific networking opportunities. For instance, when we organize our yearly networking cocktail party, so it's really a great event, you know, a very friendly event. And in this event, we have more than 280 people, current students, current master students, alumni that are also a huge part of our networking strategy, and also all these business partners that we have and mentors. So every year we put together in the same space for 3 hours with drinks and, you know, dishes, etc. These people, and this is also an event specifically dedicated to help our MBA students to network with the business community.
Okay, thank you very much, Sophie. We now have another question, I think, for Marika. The full time is every day during 10 months or just a couple of days a week?
Okay, well, the program is, of course, intensive, but we don't want to, you know, kill our students with work either. So apologies, that's a dog. Basically, you have to plan that you should be in class, or you will be in class Monday to Friday. Courses start at 8:30, they end at 5:15, but we definitely don't schedule it in such a way that you have to be, you're actually in classwork, doing classwork 5 days a week from 9 to 5, so to speak. No, you might have a Monday where you have classes in the morning and then you're free in the afternoon. Maybe Tuesday you have classes all day. Maybe Wednesday you have no class, Thursday class in the afternoon. So together with our academic administration staff, in particular a young lady named Bianca, we try to ensure that the workload is not too intensive, because we know what it's like to be sort of crammed in a classroom 9 to 5. That being said, we do have special seminars which are typically given by professors coming from outside of Monaco, and basically they come in, let's say, for 2.5 days straight. But of course, what they do is they break up those days in such a way that you're not just sitting in a class for 2.5 days straight. You have exercises, group work, breakout sessions, etc. But for some courses, such as design thinking, for instance, or innovation management, we found that's basically one of the best ways to go, that students like that immersive experience in innovation management or in design thinking. So they enjoy having, let's say, 2.5 days straight, but they do a lot of exercise, a lot of group work, etc. Other courses where it's better to, shall we say, absorb the material. It could be a course, let's say, in data analysis, big data. Students find it better to have, let's say, a session on Monday for 3 hours and then another session following Monday for 3 hours, because the concept needs to be internalized and understood. But basically what I'm saying is it'll be very rare that you'll be in class 5 days a week full-time. Okay, we basically split those weeks up so that there's always some breathing space, always some room, both to study, to do group work, just to chill a bit, not too much, but just a bit, etc. So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Marika. We have another question actually now related to financing. So I guess that would be my part. So basically, in terms of financing, we do offer merit-based scholarships in the MBA program. So IUM offers scholarships. So basically, you can apply for one at the same time that you apply for the program. So you just need to download, complete, and send back along with your program application, the application for the scholarship. So these merit-based are not full waivers. They don't cover the full program, but they cover a fair part of it. So don't hesitate also to send us your scholarship applications. In terms of financing opportunities, many students would use their personal funds, or they will contract loans with banks in their home countries. So yes, so there is a part that can be sponsored by IUM, as I just said, with the merit-based scholarships, and so for the other parts, you have different opportunities through banks mainly. Maybe ladies, you would like to add something about it?
Well, I believe we're also looking at ensuring diversity programs in terms of our scholarships. There will be special scholarships for students. This is still under discussion, who represent really diverse backgrounds, who come from, you know, far stretches of the globe. We also, of course, we look forward to having women. Actually, one of the unique features of our MBA program is that we tend to have 50-50 in terms of the genders, male and female. And this is also quite unique. So we also favor gender diversity, national diversity, etc. So these are some of the scholarship programs we're thinking about right now. I don't know if I've forgotten one, Sophie, that we're looking at as well. I can't hear you, Sophie.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry. No, I think, you know, to add something is, we promote diversity within our program because we truly believe that diversity brings something. It's not just to, you know, to promote ourselves, you know, as a person promoting diversity within our MBA program, is because in the learning process, diversity brings a lot. You know, a lot in the creativities, not in the problem solvings, etc. So this is really something important, and really the diversity program, the MBA diversity program with a specific scholarship for specific countries and profile, is something that is important for us. We also like to have a look at entrepreneurial profile as well. And so for the one who are entrepreneurs, even though this period, you know, it's not easy really to develop your own business, but still, you know, we really, again, are keen to look at entrepreneurial project, entrepreneurs profile, because we believe that we can help as well this type of profile, either setting up their companies in Monaco, but at least, you know, to help them to be guided by other mentors or entrepreneurs that are quite numerous and successful in Monaco.
Okay, thank you, Sophie. So we have maybe one last question before we finish this webinar. Do you acquire GMAT or GRE, Mariko?
The simple answer is no, we don't. In the past, we did. And we actually noticed that there's no correlation necessarily between a very high GMAT score or GRE score and how well the student does in class or afterwards. In other words, in fact, we sometimes saw the opposite. Somebody could come in with a 700 GMAT score, which is really exceptional, and didn't do well in the courses and had difficulty finding a job. And some of this has to do with the fact that one can be very good at taking exams, especially these kinds of standardized tests, but not very good in terms of leadership skills, people skills, management skills, etc. And it's these skills which are increasingly, correct me if I'm wrong, Sophie, increasingly what recruiters are looking for. They're looking for people who can communicate, who can work in different teams, who understand how to lead by example, etc. And not necessarily somebody who's very good at doing standard rote tasks. So, I mean, the world is changing in that respect. So we said, you know, we don't have 5,000 applicants for 300 places like some business schools. You know, we might have 200 applicants for 20 places. It's possible for me to read through the dossiers. I don't need to make a triage, so to speak, by saying, is the GMAT good? Then I'll consider it. Is the GMAT bad? Then I won't consider it. Because I prefer seeing the whole person, the whole profile, the whole personality, as opposed to just looking at a score. And again, thanks to the fact that we are an intentionally small MBA program, not you know, a massive one trying to attract hundreds of students. It's possible for me, it's possible for Audrey, and also for Sophie to examine each file, because we all examine each file from a different kind of perspective. So for us, the GMAT and GRE is quite irrelevant, and that's why we decided to do away with it. I don't know if Sophie, you want to add anything, or?
I think it's true that less and less the GMAT is predictive in terms of business success. So that's an element that is less important than what we can feel in an application.
Okay, thank you, ladies, for those answers. So we don't have any more questions. So maybe, Jenna, you could say the final word as an MBA student. What would you say to actually the students who are here today? Why would they love our MBA?
Well, aside from the fact that doing your MBA in a beautiful place like Monaco, which is rich in culture as well as entrepreneurial spirit, I believe that the MBA is niche enough and small enough to give you that one-on-one contact with the principality and its citizens, as well as some really excellent professors. It's been incredibly enriching academically as well as culturally. And I would seriously consider it. As a person who spent 2 years preparing to do my MBA, including writing the GMAT, I would give IUM serious consideration. And if you have any questions, just fill them through Audrey. Happy to answer them.
Yes, so thank you very much, Jenna, for your testimony. Thank you, ladies, for your time and for the presentations. Thank you to all our participants. So it's now time to close this webinar. We all remain at your disposal for any question you may have. Feel free to contact any of us. You will receive by email actually a little note actually with our contact details, so don't hesitate to use them, and we'll be very happy to help you. See you very soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend.
Bye, Jenna. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.